such an idiot sometimes. Okay, so we were talking about um, this article, and I hate to keep bringing her up because I'm trying not to keep her on my radar. But what we're doing right now is searching for models. We're searching for alternative women within our subculture that are doing things that are are doing big things, or at least trying to with their careers. And you came across this article. How did you come across this article?
It was actually Facebook because I'm a friend of the particular person that you're talking about. I just happened to click on it and I read the article and I just found it interesting.
Hmm? Okay, so what did you think?
I just think I'm cool with what she's getting, but my thing is the article seemed kind of just like the author seemed like misinformed about a lot of things. It's like she could have interviewed more people, especially people in all age groups, and it's just more than one person. This is nothing new. And in order to make a change, it got to be more than agency.
Okay, this sound is off because I'm using my speakers. Never mind. We'll just keep going. Like redoing it. Yeah, it felt like that she didn't do any kind of research. I think that maybe this girl was just that Black Silk was on her radar because of you type in black goth model, and I'm sure she's the first thing that comes up on Google. So it just seems like, okay, so fine, if you decide you want to interview her, actually interview her. Ask her some questions, like ask her how she figures she's qualified to do it, or what kind of experience does she have choosing models, or what is she even looking for when it comes to models. Like I when I did my commentary yesterday, and I'll post it for you guys later. She didn't even ask her anything of. She really didn't ask her anything of substance. So she didn't ask her about a website. She didn't ask her, how her progress has been so far. And so what I did is I did a little digging on, on the agency to see what it was, and I went to the GoFundMe page for it. And then on top of all that, she's using other people's art. I mean, she's using other people's artwork in their photography, and she's not crediting them. That's like one of the things that you learn as, if you're as a model, if you're working in that industry, you learn to credit other people's work. You don't just throw stuff up there just because it looks good and decide, okay, this is, I'm going to use this pretty image to push whatever it is I'm trying to do. So she didn't really do much there, and I'm a little disappointed with the article in general because I feel like it was just a fluff piece. And if you were trying to really put yourself out there, you would have done a little bit more if you're trying to help her promote.
Right. I just feel a lot of it could have been explained, especially the problems we're facing in the scene. It's more than just an agency. This is an all-around problem.
It's a
That
huge.
I figure like this: if you're really gonna go after all these brands and things, you have to have everyone together. It cannot just be one person, and somebody has to speak about the problems. They don't know if you don't say anything about the brands discriminating and taking Black African elements and incorporating into their fashion, but they're excluding Black models. How come that wasn't discussed? There's a lot of problems.
Yeah, and I think like so I dug a little even further and I went to the Facebook page to see, what she had. And I think you're actually a member of that group, the Diverse Alternative Modeling group. There's like 800 and some odd women or people in that group. She could have done something by now. I mean, she started this GoFundMe campaign 6 months ago and she's had zero progress. I mean, between that time, she was talking about how she could have done, that she was going to do a website or a web page or whatever for it. Web pages are fucking cheap. I mean, you can go to Wix or Squarespace or whatever and put together a website for it. Have something for people to look at and to at least start wanting to give you to help you out. And I mean, in that one donation that she had of $50, that came 5 months ago. So, what is it that you're doing, or what are you consciously trying to do to make this business work? I can't take it seriously, and nobody else will, if you don't have any information. What is it about? Who are you looking for? Are you scouting anybody? Like, what are you doing?
I just think it needs to be a lot more planning, a lot more organization, especially when you're trying to make a point like that about Black alternative models. You need to address what's going on so other people can support us, because no one knows. All they see is just Black women dressing gowns. They don't know what's behind it. People want to know what's going on.
Yeah, they don't have any clue about what we're doing or what we're going through, and the reasons why we want more, exposure when it comes to that. All it is just black faces and all that. And then still on top of it, when you have your social media and stuff like that, are you promoting other models? Are you putting them in the spotlight? Are you saying, hey, this is somebody to watch? Especially if you want to start online and you want to start exposing people to it. I mean, she really could have reached out to her network of people to work with. I mean, there's a young lady who's in her group. Her name is Adora. I used to work with her for Prism magazine. Prism was around for a while, and it was I mean, she's African, and she's vegan, and she's gorgeous. She's been a model. She's worked, Fashion Week. She could have gone to her and be like, hey, you know what? I'm getting ready to start this up. Maybe we can collaborate. Maybe, maybe I can pick your brain a little bit, because Dora has her own thing that she wants to start her own agency as well. So I don't understand what it is, and that's why I feel like whenever she says something, it's disingenuous, because it feels like she's just doing it to further her own career, and not trying to help anybody else in the process. And when that happens, all that does is make other people leery of working with her. I mean, like the stuff that we're doing right now, the two of us, as far as putting our groups together on Telegram and on Facebook, and trying, I mean, we're going slowly, but we're trying to do it like the right way. And I mean, just the models that we've even had so far that have joined our group, these are gorgeous women. One of them in particular, Eden, she's a published model. She's actually, doing some stuff with, with her thing. And I want people to see her, and I want to have others, like exposed to her. And then was it Dawn? She's a plus size model of color. These are girls that could be being showcased, through an agency or something like that. But then you have someone who's disingenuous and not really going out of her way to do it. She likes to talk more than she likes to do. And and then to sit on an article for 4 months and then publish it like the second day of the year, that doesn't, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss, because I feel like they're fucking with us is what it is.
I'm not familiar with her personally as a model, but I can say this: it needs to be a lot more planning. If you're going to start an agency, anything like, you need to reach out to different people. You need to let them know why you're doing it and what's the problem is today. You might get sponsors. When you finally reach out to people, explain what is the problem with the women of color, you have other people going to bring awareness to the issues. You got to fix the main problem first before you start anything like that. Because number one, we don't own any major alternative brands. We don't have anything. Maybe we have a couple, that's it. But it shouldn't be like that. How in the hell we being excluded, but yet they're using things from our culture, dreadlocks, scarification, ear stretching, African scarification, everything they're taking from us. But yet there are no Black models. I mean, she needs to really address the main issues while asking for these donations. You get more support.
And her explanation was just wishy-washy at best. On top of it, I mean, she's talking about, like, now plus size models are a thing, and so now it's our turn to be a thing. Like, what?
But we've been around since the 70s, the 80s, 90s. There's always been Black alternative women. And I'm not talking about Afro punk, because they don't count. We've been around before that movement even started. So I don't know what they're talking about. Like, oh, this is the new thing. Like, where you been at? You're late. We've been around.
We've been around for a while. We've been doing things, um, and the whole thing wasn't even supposed. She didn't say who she was marketing to. She didn't say what her goal was as far as that. Like, okay, so now you want a modeling agency. Who are you going to market to? Are you going to be trying to market alternative models for movies, TV? Are you trying to get them in videos? Do you want them on, do you want them to support, or you want them to represent the brands that we're spending money on that have no women of color? Or do you want to market these women to cosmetics companies like Lime Crime and all that stuff? Is that what you're trying to do? Like, what is the goal of it? And I feel like as a journalist, she shit the bed on that. But and then choosing the source for models, like she should have just done, a whole lot better. And when this is all done and we're finished with all this, I'm gonna upload it. I mean, I'm gonna send it to her and just be like, look, you know what? Do better. You can redo this. Y'all, you don't talk to me. Talk to somebody else. Talk to Adora, or talk to anybody else who has a magazine who you think. Talk to someone who owns Gothic Beauty and ask them why this person is starting this agency for women of color. They're alternative. Would you be interested in looking at the models that they have? What are you looking for as far as models are concerned? Like, do the due diligence with this article. It's supposed to be, if you want to bring awareness, it's supposed to be something that's more of a 4 or 5 question fluff piece. I don't know if she sent her more questions.
She has great ideas here. And it's not like, I don't have anything against her. I just feel like it needs to be a lot more planning with this, especially what you mentioned with Gothic Beauty. They only probably had like 1 or 2 black models. Start reaching out to these people and say, you know what, you're right. What are your requirements? What are you looking for? Okay, I have a group of women that you can pick from, especially horror movies, independent filmmakers. We can reach out to these people. There's a lot of talent out here. There's a lot of us women out here, but we're being overlooked for what? An average person that don't even have half the talent that we have. It should not be like that. We're always building other people's brands and helping other people grow, but we're the ones that's never behind.
Yeah, and then also, and another thing is, she's not even in a market or in an area where she can really be of service to women of color. If she was actively, communicating with people in Los Angeles, or even on her side of the area in New York, really reaching out, she could have done so much. And it's just to sit here and talk about what she hasn't done and all that stuff. Maybe she's reached out, but if she has, she could have talked about that too. I have been reaching out to, this is what I've been doing for the last few months, trying to get the word out, and I'm getting stonewalled, or, I'm not getting any response. I've been personally, just from what we're doing, I've reached out to a couple different cosmetics companies, especially on Instagram, trying to get some information from them to see, is it something, what are you looking for as far as the models go? Are you looking for a pale palette all the time? Is that what you're looking for all the time? And to find out, why is it that you have decided that you don't want women of color? Because every time I go to certain websites, certain Instagram feeds, all the time, every day, like I'm seeing more and more, and it just makes me a little bit more, I don't want to say angry, it just irritates me that you have all these, like, this plethora of colors that you have, and all these white girls doing swatches on their arms, and maybe one every 35 pictures is of someone of color wearing it, and they're not even alternative.
Right, they're just or they're playing dress up. It's like, why not reach out to these girls that's actually participating in the subculture? There's a lot of women. There is no excuse talking about, oh, I didn't know there were any black models. That's a fucking lie. If you look on Instagram, it's thousands of girls out here. It's just these companies are being selective. They only want that one token model. And I noticed this one thing too. They're spray tanning models to look of color, but they're not of color. They're Caucasian. It's a damn shame. And I seen it. They're either warming up their photos or photoshopping it to make themselves appear like a racially ambiguous black girl, but they're really Caucasian.
And that just seems to be the story in general with a lot of them. Did you see, who was it yesterday on Instagram? They did a swatch for, they had 3 different models, and they did the swatch for foundation on the arms of the girl. And the darkest one, the darkest foundation that they had didn't even match her skin tone. I'm like, y'all need to fire your PR department, because who thought that was okay? Like, you get a dark skinned girl and you're trying to market to women of color because you're saying that you have a shade for us, but the model that you picked doesn't even match any of the shades that you have by a mile, not even a little bit, a fucking mile. Like, in
Right.
it was insane. It was ridiculous that they would even have that there, and I feel like their their PR person or whoever, their team, their whole
They
team
suck.
should have been fucking fired over that. That's like, come on.
They really suck. And you know, people don't know about these issues if nobody's speaking about it. It cannot just be one person, two people. Nobody's gonna know what's going on with this. Just like there was lack of plus size models, lack of dark skinned women until dark skinned women start pushing back, start talking, and start, making conversations. But it seems like a lot of people are scared to make people feel uncomfortable. Oh, fucking well, you got to speak up. This is your life. You're the one being overlooked, not them. You're the one buying these products. You're the one supporting these brands, but yet you cannot see your own people wearing these brands being promoted. Something's wrong.
I'm looking at Pretty Zombie Cosmetics right now, their Instagram feed, and I'm going to put it up for you guys so you can see this because they have 1,281 posts on their Instagram, and their fourth picture in on the screen, let's see if you can see it, is a woman of color. You see her right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's scroll down. Let's scroll down a little bit more so you can see that nothing, no swatches, no nothing. That's it. And every time I see another picture from them, I love their products. Their lipsticks look good on certain skins. But, oh wait, is that one right there? No, she's just tan. So as you go further down their feed, still nothing. And there are all these black women that are wearing their stuff. And they
And
hashtag.
we're spending money, and we're and also giving them free promotion. Every time these women of color that are alternative, they taking pictures, they're putting the cosmetic brands, but yet they're not even being paid attention to. I'm like, you know what? If you cannot get these brands to support you, stop promoting them for free. We don't work for free.
This
And it's
last
so it's sad.
this last one was done on August 22nd. So the one that I showed you first there, that was 2 days ago that they posted that one. The one before that was August 22nd. And there are so many girls who, women of color in general, and that's a pretty picture too, if you guys can see it. She's got great makeup. There's nobody. If this is it, this is all you guys can do. This is all you guys can find. There are black women that are hashtagging them over and over and over and over again, and nothing. Not even a mention. If you do a hashtag right now for Pretty Zombie, I'm gonna do a hashtag and see. I'm gonna search the hashtag and see what I can find. Uh, Pretty Zombie. There we go. 21,500 and some odd posts for that. And the first one is a woman of color. Look at that.
Right.
The first tag, and that's a top post. So this girl she's got 10 likes, but she's got a lot of engagement with it. But in general, like, you have all these women that are in here that are tagging you, women, men. It's just ridiculous. I found 7 pictures so far of women of color wearing Pretty Zombie cosmetics, and you couldn't pick one of them to showcase for your wall. Like, I don't get it.
Right.
So
And it's
this
the same thing with clothing lines. Same damn thing.
one of our girls, Miss Dawn, wearing Pretty Zombie cosmetics. Look at her. This is the plus size model we were talking about. It's just, and she could be racially ambiguous, so they could have had her on there just for the thing. It's just it's laziness on the part of our brands that we're supporting and we're putting our money behind. I think, hell, you know what? Maybe we should start boycotting.
That's what I just said. You know what? If they cannot support us, but they're constantly, using us. They're making money off our women and everything else, but yet they cannot have at least a couple of people to model for them. Like, stop supporting them. Start investing in your own people's brands, because I'm pretty sure there's some black-owned alternative brands out here. but they don't even have the support these other brands get.
Or they don't even have enough traction to get their brands off the ground because
Yeah.
of that. I mean, we have Gothic Lamb, who is black owned, you know, t-shirts, and she's got t-shirts and she's got accessories and things like that. And it's a gorgeous brand. I mean, if she, you know, if she was able to do more and have more, you know, product being sold, then that would be an issue. But you know what? I'm starting to really, you know, like the idea of putting it out there that these particular brands, you know, black women are using your brands over and over and over and over again, and you're still not doing anything to say thank you for that, you know. And it's not just shit, it's not shitty makeup. These are real live makeup artists that are doing these gorgeous looks on a regular basis, and you guys can't even say thank you. You can't find a model to sponsor for that.
Attention. They love the attention. They love the business that we're bringing them. This is why we need to start searching for black-owned brands. Start supporting each other first. Stop giving away all this free money and free publicity, because you know what? It's not helping us. It's pushing people like me and you and others to the side while everybody else gets ahead. This is what I mentioned earlier. People love using black women as a meal to build their brands, and when they get famous and build enough followers, they dispose of us.
And to be quite honest, I'm wondering if they even care. I mean, I feel like they obviously don't, because you know, oh, they're still going to buy our makeup because we have these great pictures, and you know, it's industry standard or whatever, it's like subculture standard to do it. But no, I mean, I think it really is time for some of these brands, especially the little brands, because Pretty Zombie is not a big brand, you know. It's still a small, you know, owned company, and I think maybe we should start from there and go from the top, because every time, God, every time I see them pop up with another porcelain skin, and I don't even care that the girls are white, you know, because of course that's just, you know, it's if they're gorgeous women, they're choosing pretty models and stuff like that. But the thing is when it's so homogenous like that, and maybe a lot of people that are listening don't understand why we are so upset about it, because it's hard enough being a woman of color to find makeup that works for your skin tone. It's hard enough to do that. And then being alternative on top of it, we don't like the same things that most African American women do. We don't like the same looks. We like them to be a little bit more extreme, or a little bit more, or have a little bit more color. I mean, my wardrobe is all black, so I take my accessories and my makeup and my lipsticks and things like that and my hair, and I express my color choices that way. And so for me to go to a brand and I'm like, ooh, I like that purple, or I like that green, I wonder how that's going to look on my skin. Is it going to work for me? So give me an option with some shades or some swatches for someone of, with dark skin. Even if you go the darkest of the dark, at least you can see what those swatches look like, or get somewhat of an idea of that. And when
it matters, and not all alternative girls have porcelain skin. That's a stigma. This is exactly why black models are overlooked, because the face of the goth community is a porcelain skin Caucasian woman, and that's not the case. You have so many other women of color. You have Arab, you have Latina, Afro Latina. You have all kinds of people that are in this subculture, but yeah, we can't even get a shade for our skin tone. But
Asian too.
Biggest
I rarely see any Asian women on their site. I really don't. Not unless they have like a few 100,000 followers. I rarely see any Asian women on their site. Any Native American, Mexican, anything besides someone who is just, it's just white, 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 white.
Let's be doing some fucking fetish work. That's when they reach out to women of color. It seemed like to fulfill their freaky ass fantasies. That's the only fucking time they seem to reach out to us. If it has something to do with BDSM or some personal shit.
Or some struggle. And then when you do make your choices for African American women, check their feeds. These are women that are representing alternative subcultures and things like that, who you are trying to market to. So, find someone who's alternative. I get it. You're going to find someone who's a makeup artist, but there are makeup artists out there that are amazing and they are alternative, be it pinup. And when I say alternative, I mean across the gamut: pinup, ravers, cosplayers, whoever who is not within that mainstream of, mainstream diaspora of, okay, this is just your standard, run of the mill stereotypical black woman, who does really great makeup. Okay, great. She's got some great color choices. She thinks outside of the box. She's a real artist. I get it. But look into the culture of people that you're trying to, know your customer.
It's going off the stereotype. And this is what I was talking about. I'm like, people seem to reach out to black women when it has something to do with bondage or some slavery fetish. I'm like, that is so inappropriate. I mean, not all black women are into that. You can't approach us off the back expecting us to do it. You have to think outside the box. You have to be respectful towards other people's cultures, and they're not. They're just disrespectful. Even how they represent us is disrespectful. For example, I heard of magazines lightening people's skin just because. Just
Gothic
because.
beauty.
Yes.
Now, I'm not even going to say that who knows if they even did it or if that was the photographer who did it. Whoever did it was wrong. They should have kept her skin color the way that it was if they were going to put her on the cover of the magazine, because she looked racially ambiguous. And Vicious is not racially ambiguous. If you look at her and you look at her pictures and things like that, you can tell that she's a black woman. So, I don't know. Maybe that was, I can't even, I won't reach him for comment because it was done so long ago that it means nothing now. But at least now they can say, oh yeah, we did have a black model on the cover. This is her. Really?
You got to think about it. It's consistent. This is why I said it needs to be more than an agency. It has to be consistent conversations. I'm like, you know what? We spend so much money on makeup, clothes, but yet we're not representing any matter. Something needs to change. It cannot just start with one person. Everybody has to be on the same page. You have to reach out to outlets and be like, okay, like BuzzFeed, this is what's going on. There are alternative black women out here, but look, we're being overlooked. And they'll be like, okay, this is interesting. It's all about presentation. It's all about a plan. If you don't have a plan, how can I take you serious?
So that's what we do. We reach out to BuzzFeed. Let's start there. Reach out to BuzzFeed and be like, hey, look, you know what? We have a brand of cosmetics that is continually, putting faces of white women on there. When there are plenty of us who buy their products, we've reached out to them and asked them, for swatches within our skin tone, see what we can do, see if there's any kind of traction that we can get as far as that. Because I feel like if we do that, if we choose maybe 2 or 3 different companies and start hitting them hard, like, you know what, maybe we're going to start boycotting you because you guys aren't looking out for us. So why should we be putting money in your pocket when
we contribute to this scene so much. We put in so much work in this scene. What people don't understand is it's not just about goth. It's about all alternative subculture. We had an influence. People love using voodoo, hoodoo, and African, traditional elements in their aesthetic, but yet we're overlooked. I'm like, how can you take elements from our culture and exclude us? I'm like, wait a minute. You're not going to push us out, but take something from us. This is why representation matters.
Oh my God. And then remember, I just showed you not too long ago, and I told some of the other girls this too. One of the main hashtags that I use is Black Goth. And it's in hashtag Black Goth. And the most widely used 2 companies that have that term, their clothing companies, have 0 black models on their site. 0. I mean, one of them has 1. And it wasn't even it wasn't a photo shoot for their site. It was a photo shoot that she'd done for someone else wearing their clothes. And she did. And she's a model from France, gorgeous woman. And she's alternative. You can tell just by her feed on Instagram. So this is what we mean by, or when she keeps telling you guys about erasure. You're using a hashtag called Black Goth, and none of the people on your website are Black Goths. Like, not one.
You're using us to make money. This is what's been going on. This is why I keep saying, like, you're taking elements from our culture, using our, tribal elements in your clothing design, but yeah, you can't have us the model. Get the fuck out of here. This is why it fucking matters. We're always using black people to boost their own businesses, but exclude us. I'm like, come on now. This is what the conversation are with many problems today: cultural appropriation, stealing. It's not appreciation. It's appropriation.
Yeah, and then that's one of the reasons why people have, black people have such a hard time with seeing, Caucasians in in locks, not even just dreadlocks, they're locks. You know, this is the way that our hair goes and stuff. And then they want to talk about, you know, Norwegians and stuff like that. And this is how they did their hair. Okay, so if that's how they did their hair, then talk about that. You know, like this is what we, you know, this is our cultural heritage too. But no, nobody's having that conversation. Everyone that I've been reading about this Caucasian and has, you know, been asked about it says it's out of convenience, or it's out of you know, or they thought it was really, you know, it was a good look. They grew up around surfers and stuff like that that had their hair like that growing up. Okay, great. Do you know where it comes from? You know, you're using it as a tool, and other people, other white people are looking at it like, oh, she looks really rad. I'm going to go ahead and do this to my hair because I think it would look great on me too, which is all fine and dandy, but give credit where credit is due. You know, if you've seen it in tribal, you know, pictures from back in the day, you know, African tribes that did it, or, you know, you saw it in nomadic things and you thought this was great. Okay, give these motherfuckers a history lesson. Let them know where this shit comes from. Don't just
all
use
these
it.
voodoo tattoos wrote on these people. It's like, okay, are you really in a tradition, or are you just using it? And half the people I notice are not even in the tradition. They have no knowledge. It's like, wow, you're really brawling to make yourself look good.
The spiritual community, those that are witches right now, one of their biggest pet peeves are the clothing companies that walk around with, you know, with the with pentagrams and all that stuff on their thing, or wicked witch and all that, and to them it seems like mockery. Let's even take the race thing out of it. When you use someone's spiritual, you know, culture to make a buck, it doesn't do anything but dilute for those who are actually living that way. You know, they get persecuted in their jobs for being a witch, or for being a Satanist. You know, people lose their jobs for stuff like that because of cultural stigma and things like that. And here you are putting it on a shirt like, oh, okay, this is cool and this is cute. But people are losing their jobs, people are losing their families, people are going through persecution.
Demonized. I mean, I'm part of the spiritual community as well, but the African traditional religious community, there's a lot of problems going on. Cultural appropriation, stealing, and mockery. This is the problems that we face every fucking day. We talk about the same shit. How people want to use our elements and market something different, but exclude us or turn their nose up at us. I'm like, wait a minute. You're a voodoo queen, but you can't stand black people? Really? But you're getting deities tattooed on you that are fucking African and Haitian, but yet you cannot stand black people. This is why this is a problem now. This is someone else's culture. You just can't use it for decoration.
And half the people won't represent for it when it's time to represent for it. You know, you want to be black, or you want to have elements of your body that are representative of other cultures, but when it comes time to say, yes, that's who I am and this is what I'm into and this is what I like, no, you scurry on back to your little corner and hide because you just did it because you wanted to look good, or you wanted to look cool and on trend and stuff like that.
You want the branding, you want the attention. That's the problem. A lot of people are using our shit for attention. It's like, man, you don't understand what we go through every fucking day in our own community. I mean, right now in the black community, we are still being demonized for practicing African traditional religions. This is why it's so important. Like, our ancestors used it to survive, not for a photo shoot, not for a clothing brand. We use this shit every fucking day to get ahead in life, not just to look cool.
Yeah, because a lot of African Americans have been, you know, indoctrinated into Western subculture. I mean, Western culture, where it's Christianity and it's Jesus and all that stuff. And what they don't realize is where we come from, or where our families have come from. You know, that may have eventually become a thing, but you know, our spirituality goes further back than that. You know, they weren't monotheists in the beginning. Everyone was a polytheist at that point in time. So if that's how you grew up and you know that about your culture, why are you sitting here being, you know, why are you sitting here persecuting someone else for going back to their roots and feeling more connected, you know, being spiritual in that aspect? Because what you've become westernized, and you feel like, okay, it's all about you know, Jesus and God and Jehovah, and you know, one, it's about one as opposed to, you know, multiple. So stop demonizing us for going back to our roots, when as a matter of fact, you're sitting here talking about how we should go back to our roots anyway. We should wear our natural hair. If we should wear our natural hair, and we should, you know, and carry ourselves and become mothers and learn how to cook and stuff like that, how come we can't go farther back and become polytheists and celebrate the religions that we were, that our people had in the beginning? Like I don't get that. But that's
Right.
another topic with all within
That's a
itself.
whole nother topic we can go into that all day, because this is the problems that we face every single day. And a lot of Caucasian counterparts, they don't understand. We face a lot of fucking problems. Number one, for our skin tone, just everyday functions, especially as a black woman. People think we're loud, angry, sassy, lazy, baby machines, poor, all these things. I'm like, no, we're creative, smart, and intelligent, but yet somebody else tell it they're trying to minimize who we are. This is why we need the representation of something positive here. There are a lot of talented alternative girls out here, not just models, actually musicians, artists, makeup artists, actors, but yet they're overlooked. Because why? Because they're not Caucasian. They don't have porcelain skin.
And that's just it's really sad. So I'm, from now on we're going to start just talking about how we can do better, what we can do in order to help do this, because I mean we're sitting here talking about, and complaining about it and stuff like that. So now's the time we need to start doing something
Right.
about
We're
it.
going to do this work. We're going to start searching for brands, black owned brands and storefronts. I would love to hear from bands too. If you're a black alternative band, goth punk, please reach out so we can talk, we can chop it up. Because like I said about Afro punk, they're not promoting you. They're not promoting anything alternative. It's all about neo soul hotepery. I mean, reach out to us so we can be like, okay, we're gonna get something going. Maybe we can have our own festival. You never know. We can take this to a whole nother level. This is why we need to get together and finally promote our own within.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with the whole Afropunk thing and all that. I was thinking about it as like neo, Afrocentrism, but really all it is African American millennials now. This is millennial culture for African Americans, is the whole Afropunk thing, just being slightly different or a little quirky and all that stuff. There's no, rhyme or reason behind it. And I'm not saying that it's not attractive or that it's not well thought out or anything like that, but this is mainstream culture now for African Americans, is to be the African American millennial, to be, fully immersed in Afrocentricity, but not understanding that there is more to it outside of it. If you're going to do Afropunk and you're going to stand for something, stand for the punk side of it, being against the grain. And maybe that's what they think it is. Maybe it's because, and I keep hearing this in my group, that it's just a place for all, for African American people to get together and experience art and culture and things like that. Okay, great. That's great. Have that space where you can have that, but don't sit here and try to market it as this is where alternative people get to go and promote their bands and stuff like that, when that's not it. Unless you have a few 100,000 followers on Instagram, you're not performing on at Afropunk. I don't know. They just, I mean, there's alternate African American bands. Your friend Angel Nightmare, he has his band. Have they been to Afropunk yet? Have they been asked to perform there? That's just.
I'm pretty sure Melanie Objects, which is an African American punk singer, I'm pretty sure nobody reached out to her. She's been around for many years, ever since I was 18. So she was out there for many, many years. You have Alexis from Straight Line Stitch. That's also the lead singer of a heavy metal group. But has anybody reached out to her? Because no, because she doesn't fit in the neo soul, Afrocentric, R&B, hip hop lifestyle. It's like, okay, you're gonna say you're Afro punk, but yet you're excluding the actual people who are punk, who actually got to the roots of it. I have no problem with neo soul, hip hop, whatever. But if you're gonna say you're Afro punk, at least promote, at least educate the younger people what the music is about so they can understand. There is no education out here. It's just fashion. It's fashion core.
Yeah, and I mean, they could be reaching out to like horrorcore artists or, the darker. If you're gonna go with some hip hop artists or something like that, go with some serious, like some underground shit, like shit that they won't play on the radio. I mean, fucking like ICP type, hip hop bands and stuff like that. Stuff that is really alternative. But what you're doing is trying to turn a profit, and we see you. We see you, we see what you're doing, and we know that you're false, and it's just not working for us anymore. But okay, so now's the time for us to just start doing what we do. And we've already started our groups and stuff like that, and slow traction. which is fine. I want to grow organically. I'm not trying to throw, anybody at, any money at it. I don't want your money. What we want is support. We want for you to refer people to us. We want for you to, show us where there's a deficit in your community, or show us where there's some misrepresentation, or give us your frustrations and let us know what you want to change and how you want to change. And if you don't agree with us, we want to know that too. If you think that we're just complaining and all of that, then and that's fine. That we don't have a problem with that. Let us know, because if there's something else that we can do to make this a better community for and a better support system for alternative people of color, then we're in for it. We're not trying to hide behind anything. We're easily accessible. We're easily accessible on Facebook, on Instagram. I answer all my DMs when I get them. When I get them. And we have our website coming up. Actually, the website's already up, but I haven't changed the face of it yet. So so we have that. We have the Facebook page. We have Instagram. You're on Vampire Freaks, correct? You're on a couple other things, and people can get to us however they want to. We're all over the place. So send this out, share it. Look at these two bitches arguing about shit and talking about nothing and all that. Send it out, because it's going to connect with somebody. Somebody's going to see it, or they'll hear about us anyway. So that's what we're doing right now. And look out for the Black Alternative Collective on Facebook. You can look for me, the Black Alternative, on Instagram. Freda, you want to give them your info?
I'm at Lovely Bruja on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook as well. I do have a Facebook fan page with the same name, Lovely Bruja. You can always reach out to me. Always, whether you're a company, a band, or just need some advice, just feel free to talk to us about what's going on with you. And we always love to hear feedback. We're not just complaining, we're trying to change things for everyone. For myself, I am an aspiring model. I'm getting myself together. And also, I'm trying to be a horror movie actor. So it's a lot of obstacles I'm going to be facing as well, my experiences. So I want to share my experience with everybody else so they can learn what to do and what not to do.
I'm glad you said that too, because I haven't really told anybody what I do. My main focus right now, besides this, is I run my own magazine. I do my own photo shoots. I do interviews with artists, and I go to festivals and I take pictures. I have my photographers take pictures of these models. And with my magazine, it's called Symbols Magazine. With that magazine, I expressly said in the beginning that I want to work primarily with African American women to shoot with. And so now that I have been exposed to all of these, women, especially women that are local to Los Angeles, I am more and more inspired to see these concepts that I have in my head be brought to life digitally. So, a lot of you women that I've been coming into contact with have inspired me to create even newer concepts for that. So we're not just talking out of our ass. Like, we do have some things going on, and I hadn't mentioned it before. I don't know why I didn't mention it before, but yeah, I do have my own magazine, and it's pretty deep. It's pretty neat. You can check it out at www.symbolsmagazine.com. You'll see my work and the work that I've done in the past. It's just, we have the resources for you. We're just waiting to find you. So
exactly.
That's it. That's all we're looking for.
And especially for 2018, I'm planning on for us to do conventions, doing slut walk, doing horror movie conventions. We're planning on being everywhere. And we're promoting these ladies, not just us. Everyone gets to, a piece of the spotlight. So we're definitely local. We hope to see you out here in these conventions, whether it be Bats Day, Amber Rose's Slut Walk. We're going to be there.
No Bats Day. Fuck Bats Day. Nope. That's a whole other story. No. No. I will never support that ever again. That goes back 20 years. But no, I'm not a Bats Day. Not a supporter. You will not see me at Bats Day. You won't see me at Disneyland on Bats Day. You won't see me at the events on Bats Day, which are already coming to an end. So I will go for Villains Day at Disneyland. I will go to Slut Walk for sure. Yes. And then just a group of us together, we can start hitting, different venues together, clubs and stuff like that, so that people can see that we do have a good selection of, one of the clubs I go to right now, it's it's quiet. I can't really tell you too much about it, but there are a lot of black women in these clubs, and I didn't know that there were so many until I started going on a regular basis and seeing more and more of us show up. And it's quality. It's not like you would see at a normal like golf club or something like that. But no, these are quality members that are, have been vetted and are doing good things and are doing big things within our community, and we don't even know each other. We've been around for so long within our subcultures, and we don't even know each other, and that's a fucking shame. A lot of them have been run off. I've talked to a few of them that are like, I'm like, I haven't seen you at this club or this club or this club, and you've been around for as long as I have. Like, how come I haven't seen you? Oh, I always go there and I always get like side eye, or I go and I always get treated badly, or people are nasty to me about certain things, and I just don't feel welcome there. But they all feel welcome in this space, and we all sort of have a kinship with each other now that I never thought that I could have with a lot of African American women. I've never really been able to connect with a lot of African American women, especially ones in mainstream, because they don't get me. They don't get why I do what I do, or maybe I'm not as woke as a lot of people are, and I let some things just kind of slide off me because I don't have that same connection to that as you do. But I understand where you're coming from. I just allow people to do what they want to do and accept whatever consequences come from that. If you're going to yell at somebody for having, locks in their hair, okay, but, understand that that doesn't do anything right now but make us look even worse. What you need to do is maybe start educating them to make those choices and decisions, and let them know that maybe, if you want to do this, this is the kind of treatment that you may get. You may not get someone like me who's able to or wants to explain to you why this is bad. You might get somebody who's like, well, what the fuck, and want to rip them out of your hair. But that's the conscious decision that you make now, knowing what you know about your locks. So reach out to us if you want to. We're looking and ready and able to hear from you whenever you get the opportunity. I lost her. Anyway, we'll talk to you guys soon, and stay tuned for more episodes, and we're going to have some more guests come in, and she's back, but we're gone. Bye, you guys.